Coming to you live from Toowoomba this afternoon. Yes, pretty green right where I'm sitting in the heart of town, but all around here, drought-stricken farmland, and that's been our focus here today. We've been talking to a lot of business leaders, certainly local business leaders, who are well aware of the impact this drought has had, not just on the farms, but on the towns and certainly this town centre itself. When drought goes on and on and on, as it has in so many parts of New South Wales and Queensland in particular, well, that does have an impact right across the board on the business community. One of the big farm suppliers here in town has just announced they're reducing down to 4 days a week instead of 5. These are the sort of, well, cost-cutting measures that have to be taken, and that has an impact on the workforce and on the incomes of families as well. So the ideas are coming to the government from towns like here in Toowoomba. They're coming from, well, all quarters, really. Today in Canberra, the National Farmers Federation have finally issued their drought plan to the government and detailed what they would like to see. One of the big ideas is to bring back something that was in place for a while under the Howard government, and that is an exit payment. A payment back then, it was $150,000 or up to $150,000 to farmers who decided it was time to leave the land, that they couldn't sustain things any further, they couldn't squeeze any more efficiency out of their drought-stricken property. The idea, though, hasn't gone down particularly well with all major parties, as our political reporter Trudy McIntosh explains.
Sometimes things don't work out as planned.
It's a division. To be continued.
Even for the Prime Minister.
Next time I come back, I promise we'll talk about the prizes.
Scott Morrison forced to make his own unplanned exit as he's pushed to fund exit payments for farmers.
We do need to make sure that people actually have options on the table when they're making really some of the biggest and toughest decisions they'll ever make in their life.
The National Farmers Federation has written to the Prime Minister asking for cash incentives to help drought-stricken farmers make the transition.
People are feeling like they have no options.
They haven't provided a dollar figure, but back in 2007, under John Howard, $150,000 packages were available.
There'd have to be more, at the very least, considering property values since, presumably.
Well, property values are quite good at the moment, by and large, generally speaking, right? So we'd have to bear that in mind.
Labor point out the Productivity Commission recommended against exit payments in 2009.
I'm happy for them to come back into a broader conversation, but you don't raise that issue, Chris, at this point in time.
Nationals MPs also argue it's the wrong approach.
I mean, why wouldn't you fight for farmers' funds to stay and continue to be in regional Australia?
My focus is on making sure I can help my farming families get through this.
It's just one of 6 urgent measures the NFF want the government to take. They also would like to see payroll subsidies equivalent to New Start, relief for local council rates, additional rural school funding and help to eradicate feral pigs.
And yesterday we met with the National Farmers Federation and there was enormous overlap between the measures that we're putting in place and the measures that they are calling for.
Farmers have also provided the Morrison government with a long-term roadmap for drought resilience. It includes a call for a permanent drought committee made up of state and federal governments. Trudy McIntosh, Sky News, Canberra.